What up, babies? This is the Madden Curse. We are in week 10, and we're going to do some matchup previews. I'm going to pick some winners. We had a hot streak last week. We went 6 and 0. Never seen that before. Going to try to do that again. Get some locks. You know, let's get to the match. It's a little dark in here. Let's get some of that natural light in here. Look at that. Look at that. Yeah. There we go. You see me? All right. Let's get into this. You know what? I'm actually gonna start. In case you're wondering why I always start with my matchup. It's because it's the first matchup that they show me when I'm in the ESPN app. Um, I'm gonna start from the back this time. So we'll go to mine. That'll make mine last. Sorry. First matchup. Jordan versus Dan. This is probably the this is the lowest scoring combined matchup. Um, Jordan projected for 98, Frank projected for 101. I believe last week they were both under 100, so should be a pretty affair. They say high scoring affair. I'm just gonna say this should be an affair. Yeah. Jordan's got Daniel Jones, Najee Harris, Aaron Jones, who's questionable, has got a rolled up ankle. Of course, he's hurt as when I trade AJ Dillon. It's been a few weeks, so I don't regret it. Jerry Judy, DeAndre Carter, Greg Dulcich, Jeff Wilson Jr. Jordan's team looked like the waiver wire after Aaron Jones. Let's see if he's got some moves. Well, Michael Pittman is basically a waiver wire receiver at this point. Unfortunately, with Sam Ellinger, Mike Williams is still hurt. Lamar Jackson's on the bye. That's half Jordan's points. Pat F is on the bench currently over Greg Dulcich. People love that guy, so we'll see if that sticks. Um, Nothing else on a bye on Jordan's side. On Frank's side, we got Matt Stafford, who's questionable concussion protocol. Jamal Williams, Jonathan Taylor, who's also questionable, but it looked like he actually practiced yesterday. And Deion Jackson, his backup, who started last week, did not practice. So um, looks like Taylor can make it in the game. If Taylor makes it, he's playing the Raiders, who have a horrible, horrible defense. So could be a lot of points there. Stephon Diggs is Frank's first wide receiver. Josh Allen has an elbow injury, so just keep that in mind. The backup is Case Keenum, who I believe Stephon Diggs does have previous history with the Vikings, so he could still have a decent game, but I mean big difference between Josh Allen and Case Keenum, right? Terrace Marshall Jr., wide receiver two, Will Disley and Devin Singletary in the flex. Like I said, I don't expect this to be. I expect this to be probably the lowest scoring game of the week. Having said that, there is some firepower in there with Jonathan Taylor if he makes it and is healthy. Stephon Diggs, you know, on Jordan's side, a guy like Jeff Wilson Jr. playing the Cleveland Browns he could very well put up 20 points. I mean, put up 16 last week in his first week there. Very comfortable with the system. Um, just because of the fact Aaron Jones looks hurt, and I don't see anyone. I mean, it looks like he's going to be flexing Michael Pittman if he goes out. I'm gonna give the edge to Frank here. I like Frank in this matchup, so that's contingent on Taylor playing and Matt Stafford, of course. But I think the affair will slide in Frank's favor. The next matchup is Fat and Alex, the two bros, the Abernethys. Um, Fat picked this as the matchup of the week. At this point, this is just classic pandering. There's really no effect. There are no implications to this matchup, one way or the other. Fat's 7-2. Alex is 3-6. Yes, Alex could win, and I guess he still has playoff hopes, as many of us do at this time. But it's not going to drop Fat on his rank on his standing in the position. Um, the matchup we've got Fat is starting Marcus Mariota versus the Panthers. Sacrilege. Austin Eckler and Saquon Barkley both back, by free, healthy. Um, Christian Kirk, Tyler Lockett, Gerald Everett, Darnell Mooney. What a sweetheart. In the flex. That means Fat has given up on David Montgomery. He's on his bench. Joe Burrow's on a bye. And nothing else is important on his bench. Um, on Alex's side, Geno Smith, Dalvin Cook, Nick Chubb, Alan Lazard, who is questionable, Brandon Ayuk, Kyle Pitts, still in the lineup, James Conner, he's back. And on Alex's bench, Brandon Cooks, who's questionable. I think he's taking mental health days at this point. Allen Robinson, MVS, Mostert, Pickens, nothing crazy down there. No by Isaiah Likely. Honestly, that would probably put Pitts on the bench. Uh, this might be the healthiest Alex has been since the beginning of the season, outside of Alan Lazard. However, I just don't see it. I don't see this as being necessarily the closest matchup of the week. Fats 7-2 for good reason. Austin Eckler, Saquon Barkley have been, if not the 1 and 2, they're both up in the top five. I mean, that's not debatable. Um, they're both healthy. I don't see any reason to go against them two horses until something happens, right? So we're giving the edge to Fat. And we'll see if we can find another game of the week, a true game of the week. We'll see what we can do. Don't think we're gonna find it in this matchup. It's T versus JT. Um, Mr. JT is 5-4. T is 1-8. JT's got Justin Herbert, Donta Foreman, Lenny, playoff Lenny, baby. He's getting ready for the playoffs. That's what it is. He rested right now. He'll be back. He'll be fresh. Don't sweat it. Cooper Cup, Mike Evans, who's got a question mark next to him. Not sure what it is. Dallas Goddard. Oh, I said his name. Dallas G. My bad. And then Curtis. I am Samuel in the flex on JT's bench. Thielen and Rogers are both questionable. I mean, Rogers, I don't even know if I would roster him at this point. But there's always a bounce back with Rogers, right? So it's probably not the worst spot. Dalton Schultz is on the bench. Let's see. Tyler Boyd is on a bye, so not much there. My boy's got Odell Beckham on his bench, unsigned yet, and then Zeke is on the IR. I imagine he'll stay there because there's a much better running back starting for the Dallas Cowboys right now. On T side, T Brady is in the lineup, man. He's in the lineup playing Seattle. We found out he lost a bunch of money in crypto. He about to start have to play for that next contract. DeAndre Swift questionable. Just seems like he's gonna be questionable the rest of the season. I'm not. I don't know. I mean, it's pretty disappointing his fantasy production at this point. Hopefully, as the season goes on, they're saying maybe he can get healthier. I'm not really sure how that works when you get hit every week. But I don't know. I'm hoping that he can get back to form, put up some big numbers, which is what he should be doing because I mean, top 10 running back in the league healthy. Isaiah Pacheco's in the RB2 spot. Kansas City is just one of those weird places with running backs right now. I mean, Pacheco's a fine dart for the position or for the team. Um, it's hard to rely on one of them at this point. Chris Godwin and Cortland Sutton in the wide receiver positions. T.J. Hawkinson um, at the tight end spot, who's been looking good with Minnesota, and then Deontay Johnson in the flex. T's got T. Higgins on a bye, Garrett Wilson on a bye, who's been looking good as well. Not much else there. He's got Dak Prescott and Derek Carr. Maybe some. I probably like Brady versus Seattle on that one. I think this matchup could be very close um, because of DeAndre Swift just not really knowing if he's 100% at this point. I'm going to lean with JT on this one, but I do think this can be a close matchup for the week. The next matchup here, Uh, Now this is what I'm talking about. This is a game of the week right here. The Commanding Commanders, Jason Hairless versus the Concord Baby Racers, Danny Elwood, Danny Dimes. I'll find some more Dan nicknames. I'll come up with them. All right. Dan's projected at 122. Jason's at 102. Has he set his lineup? Who knows? We'll check. But they're both 5-4. Winner's gonna take a nice spot, probably in the top three in the rankings, maybe top four. The other one's gonna go to 500, still probably in the playoff picture there, but it's a big game, man. Dan's got Kirk Cousins, Kenneth Walker III, Travis Etienne Jr., Justin Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb, Taysom Hill, Damon Pierce in the flex, questionable. Um, on his bench, Gabe Davis is healthy, but I mean, Dan's got a stable of running backs. He's probably got the best four. I'm not necessarily saying he's got the best. Fat's probably got the best 1, 2. Um, Dan's probably got the deepest. I would say Walker, Etienne, Pierce, and Stevenson is pretty nasty. Group of four. You can always have two starting, flex one, and then right now Stevenson's on a bye, so get through bye season with that. You'll have three or four of them. It looks like the rest of the way. So very envious there. And then of course he's got Justin Jefferson and CeeDee Lamb, so he's got a ton of firepower. Um, on Jason's side, he's got Kyler Murray in, who's questionable, playing the Rams. Miles Sanders, Antonio Gibson, DeAndre Hopkins, DJ Moore. How'd you get him? Zach Ertz, and then Terry McLaurin in the flex. On his bench, Michael Carter's on a bye. Brian Robinson taking a back seat. Tua is playing Cleveland. He's on the bench. You know what? I'm a bet myself $1 here that he puts Tua in over Kyler. We've got Rondell's questionable. He's got Jamar Chase in his IR spot too. He's out and he's on a bye, but didn't see him there before. With this matchup is very close to me. I am going to lean on Dan just because the running backs, man. I mean, look from Jason's got pretty good wide receivers. Dan's are probably a little bit better. I mean, he's got Jefferson and Lamb, and then he's got the edge on running back. So it's hard to pick against him there. I am going to pick Dan. However, I'm going to say that this could be the highest scoring game of the week. I could see it. The next matchup is Scott and Mr. Undefeated. I ain't even going to say number two no more. I'm just call him Mr. Undefeated. That's Brent. On Scott's side, um, projected forward 95, Brent for 123. Scott's got Josh Allen, who's questionable. Like I said, he's got something going on with his elbow. Christian McCaffrey, Tony Pollard, my darling sweetheart. Man, I miss him already, man. I shouldn't have got rid of him. I love you, Tony. I'm picking you first next year. Fuck that bullshit. Keenan Allen, wide receiver, questionable. We'll see, man. He's had a hamstring, keep him out all freaking year, and hamstring's probably the worst. I mean, I guess aside from breaking something, it might be the worst injury you can get as a wide receiver, man. I don't know. DK Metcalf, Dawson Knox at the tight end position, and oh my goodness, okay. He's got Tyler Conklin in the flex currently. He's on a bye, so he is going to make that substitution. Looking at his bench, Jacoby Myers is on a bye, so he's either going to be putting in Khalif Raymond or possibly Clyde Edwards-Helaire. And then I do see that he has Jimmy G. If something were to happen to Josh Allen, he's got Jimmy G that he can pop in for the week. On Mr. Undefeated side, Patrick Mahomes, Derrick Henry, Kareem, Kareem Hunt, Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Mike Gesicki, Mike G. I knew a Mike G once. His food was terrible. Chris Olave. Chris Olave in the flex. That's nice, bro. I ain't even hating. Mark Andrews is on a bye. He's been hurt too for a good bit of the season. Mark Andrews been banged up, hurt, and it doesn't even matter. Brent's still 9-0. Juju is currently on his bench. He's been balling out, but I mean, you look at his wide receivers. You're not putting him over Hill. You're not putting him over Waddle, and you're probably not putting him over Olave. So that's why he's on the bench, along with Devonta Smith. We were just talking about people having the deepest running back groups. Brent has the deepest wide receiver group and the best wide receiver group, I think. As far as the Hill and Waddle's probably your best 1-2 punch. And then he's got Olave, Smith, Juju, all there to cover him up. So, we'll see how this affects next year's drafts, with when you see the guy who has the best wide receivers and the best group of wide receivers is undefeated. Um, might be something to think about for next season. Um, Nothing else really. He's got AJ Dillon on his bench, who might start. He would play Dallas. It would be a tough matchup. Aaron Jones got hurt third quarter last week, and Dillon didn't really do a whole lot afterwards, but we'll see. Dillon is a good running back. If he gets the role to himself, I could see things happening, but the Packers' offense is gross. So I wouldn't hold my breath, I would say. Having said that, I like Brent in the matchup. He's undefeated. I mean, all his players are there. There's no reason to go against it. I mean, the train keeps on rolling. Um, the next matchup, the final matchup, is myself versus Marshall. I believe we have the highest projected total combined. I'm at 129. Marshall's at 124. So this definitely has a good potential for the highest scoring matchup of the week as well, along with what I said, Jason and Dan's matchup, who I think is the matchup of the week. On Marshall's side, he's got Jalen Hurts, Alvin Kamara, Cordero Patterson, Debo Samuel, A.J. Brown, George Kittle, Drake London. A lot of firepower in there. Um, the Eagles got a divisional game with the Commanders. Kamara's playing Pittsburgh. Patterson's playing Carolina, who just got straight up destroyed by Joe Mixon. Um, a lot of favorable matchups that I see for Marshall and his side. On his bench, Robinson's on a bye. Kenyon Drake is on a bye who just balled out too. There's probably no other I don't see any substitutions he's going to be making there unless some crazy injury comes up. So he's got all his bullets in the lineup. On my side, I got Justin Fields. I got Khalil Herbert, Josh Jacobs, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Amari Cooper, Travis Kelsey, and we're flexing Devontae Adams. Hello. On my bench, I got Joe Mixon's on a bye. He's got to rest. He did a lot of running last week. Deion Jackson's questionable. If he was starting this week for Indy and he was healthy, he could go in over Herbert potentially. But right now, it doesn't look like that's the case. Nothing really else on my side. I do like myself in this matchup. I do have the highest projection for the week. My team has put up pretty good points the last couple weeks. I think it's going to be a really close matchup. This could be the highest scoring matchup of the week. Um, but I think I also have some pretty good matchups here. I mean, Travis Kelsey's matchup proof, but he's playing Jacksonville. Devontae Adams does have a tough matchup versus Indy with Stephon Gilmore shadowing him, but hell, I mean, if they're going to throw the ball 17 times, my guy's going to catch, 6 or 7, 8, maybe fall in the end zone once. Amari Cooper versus Miami. I mean, it should be They should be having a throw, right? Miami's good. The matchups that I'm most excited for is the Bears and Detroit game. I mean, Justin Fields, Khalil Herbert versus Detroit, and then Amon gets to go against those sweet, sweet Chicago DBs. I mean, that could be just beautiful. And then Josh Jacobs playing Indy. I mean, that sounds like a hell of a way to get back on track, right? Get a 30-point running back game in. Now, having said that, I mean, literally, Alvin Kamara has been balling. I'm terrified of him versus Pittsburgh. Again, I think this will be a very close matchup. I'm going to give myself the slight edge, but, this is Marshall's got a lot of firepower there too. Slight edge to myself. If I did not give a lockout, it's because I forgot, and that lock is going to Fat because Alex, your team's Dookie. Sorry. We'll see you next week. We'll see if I go 6-0 again. I got big love for y'all. Sorry we went over 20 minutes, but that's just how much I love y'all. Madden curse.